Okay, it started. All right, so I'm gonna log into acceptance. Acceptance is the final stop before any changes make it to our day-to-day production system. So when we log in here, sometimes you might see some things that you don't see in production, but eventually as promotions take place, whatever's in here should appear in our production system. I'm going to use this for the training, and I'm going to go to Mid-Atlantic. Okay. So my preventive maintenance application set up on my favorites, or I could come here to the module and I can select it. We see these others here because I do the training, so sometimes it's transportation. So I'm going to go straight to the preventive maintenance application. And you see here, we have the advanced search, some of the fields. I'm going to search for asset-based PM. All right, so I'm going to put a wildcard here. I don't want a route to be associated with assets, so that'll be covered in PM2. And if you use the character string with a tilde sign, the word null, and that tilde sign again, that means it needs to be blank. So I want that. I want an active PM. And I also want, I'm going to stick to HVAC. So I'm going to use the master system. We'll do this query, and we'll pull up HVAC related asset-based PMs. We'll just take a look at them. All right, now, let's see. Another thing is I don't want, okay. All right, so let's jump to that first topic I was talking about. Here is the duration, right? That comes from the job plan. Let me launch to here, just so you can see it. All right, so remember, when you build a job plan, this duration is in hours and will dictate the time between the target start and the target completion. All right, only if there is nothing in this field here. All right, and in this case, this is in hours. This is in days, actually the same number. 600 is 25 days. Divided 600 by 24, you get 25. Now, this completion target, go back to that little Word document for a second, right, is the prioritized method. So these were in a sequence of how Maximo looks at that data when it generates the work order. It first looks at the completion target. If there's nothing in there, it drops to the duration. So in effect, this is somewhat redundant, right? If I took this out, it would still be 25. But some FECs preferred this method, and as they built their PMs, when we first started back in, like I said, 2010, when this came up, they used this value. Later on, they updated the job plans to meet the duration, because constantly the Maximo user group has conversations about deprogramming this feature. So basically, they're going to take it out. It's not part of the inherent programming in Maximo, so they want to kind of remove NAVFAC modifications. This is one of them, but it allows us to use any job plan, right, and to dictate the completion target. That was the benefit, right? But because it may be removed, we can see here the technicians went in, the job plan is covered the 25 days. If this happens to be deprogrammed, it's not going to matter. It'll still revert to 25. So I'm going to just paste through some of these PMs and take a look at them. All right, so we got a bunch that are same. I'm just going to go through here. So you see this one, 14, 40, 30. So what's going to happen? It's going to be 30 days. All right, and let's see what the frequency of this PM is. See, and this is a topic I always like to see. This frequency on the PM is 6 months, right? The job plan says annual. The job plan really cannot dictate the frequency, right? Because I put this job plan on a PM. It's going to come out every 6 months. And they have modified the completion target here. The other option would be to, if they want to use these tasks, we would have to duplicate this job plan and set the duration on the new job plan ID to 30 days, which is what, something like that, 720. Now, tolerance is what the terminology we use in the P503, which is the Planned Maintenance Guide out of headquarters, kind of overseen by the Preventive Maintenance or Planned Maintenance Working Group. And they have just had, literally just yesterday, had a meeting to discuss possible changes to the tolerance. So I'm just trying to keep everybody up to date. We could sit in here now, all the PMs that have been created based on the tolerance that exists today may come about, may change, right? Which would mean you have to go in and change the PMs or the job plans. But just so you know, it's a possibility that it may change. Today, in the P503, here are the guidelines. All right, just so we know for our class, annuals are 60 days, semi-annuals, 30 days, quarterlies and monthlies are 25. If there are any weeklies, they're 6 days, which means from the time I generate that work order, the target start, I give you 6 days to complete it. That's a weekly. These are 25 days each, right? So if I go back to that PM, they put 30 here because the frequency of that PM is every 6 months. Even though the job plan is an annual, that would be 60 days. So we can use this field to overcome durations that we don't want to use, right? Okay, but if they deprogram this, what happens to this semi-annual? You're gonna have 60 days to complete it, okay? But that doesn't restrict you from, if you need these tasks and you push this in, the other option, like I said, is to duplicate this and create it with a duration of 720, which is 30 days. All right. So first key element, target completion time, right? And we base it on frequency today. And the PM guide tells us this, I think I prefer to say this is the maximum, all right? Not you have to have 60 days. It doesn't mean you can't have 30 days. If your annual is only an hour and a half labor and you want to constrict the schedule, if I give you 60 days to do it, we just keep pushing this thing out till it becomes the end, and then, we have to hurry up and get it done. This way, if you give 30 and your schedule's tight, it's better off to be with less, right? So I can have less, I just can't have more. All right. Topic 1, target completion date. Second calculation is labor, all right? And we're going to go back and look at the PMs. All right, so we're going to go here, and I'm going to go to this job plan. Again, if you took the job plan class, I always like to say, look, when any of these job plans start, it assumes you're already at the piece of equipment. All right. You're here. So I don't know how you got there that quick, but it's 36 minutes to do the work. All right. And a lot of them, if I go back to the PM and we'll scroll through a couple of different ones. All right, I'll just go to the all right. Same thing. All right. So evidently we have to get there, right? If I went to Southwest, they in China Lake, they have activities that are way out on the missile range. So they're driving a half hour just to get to the place to do the work. You got to give them extra time. So here, this field, additional hours is literally that. If you take this 6 minutes When the work order is generated, it simply comes here and adds it to this hour field on the job plan. If there were two different crafts, two different technicians, it would add it to both rows. Quantity indicates the number of people we need. It still would add it here and then multiply times that to get the labor on the work order. So additional hours is a field that is accurately identified. It just adds it right here. All right. So this PM from 24 minutes, add 6, we have a half hour. Right. The 6 minutes was given. So again, I'm just going to kind of page through some of these here. There's 6 hours there. You see that one? All right. That's not 6 minutes. That's 6 hours. Okay. Now, let's look at this. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's a lot. All right. So you have 94 steps. You have 8 hours, and we add 6. That's up to the technician. Whatever reason, it may be, I don't know, more assets than are shown here. It's a whole system. I don't know. But at 6 hours, that work order is going to have 14 hours on it, estimated labor. Right. And how much time they have to do it? 60 days? Same thing here. So the right here and the job plan, that's a lot, has a lot to do with what the work order is going to look like. All right. So let's go back to our diagram. All right. So over here to the left is the what. Today we're going to talk about a single asset. Now I'm going to go through the fields on the PM just to discuss the meaning of each of those fields. I'm going to refer to the, not the P503, but the Maximal User Guide, because I believe this has the most up-to-date information about the application field. Does it do PMs? Yeah, right here. All right. So it covers a few of the applications. It also has just general information about getting an account, how to do queries, purpose of some of the applications. You can see here, it kind of gives an overview, and then it's going to go through the tabs, what we're going to do in the class, but then it has a detailed description of the fields or definitions, right? All right, so if we come to a point and I need to look up the definition, because I will come into this document if I was you. So I would download that document one time. You have it. You can always come back and refer to it. All right. So now get a cup of coffee because we're going to go through the fields, right? And all right, PM number, right? Maximal calls this. If you ever just hold the Alt key down and select the letter I, it tells you what that field is. In this case, it's PM num. Okay, so it's the number, ID of the PM. Here's the description. This is what's placed on the work order, right? When the work order is generated, this is what it looks like. Master PM is a feature that you can assign all the assets of a certain specification, and Master PM will dictate the job plan, the GL account, the date, the turnaround time. Basically, I'm the master. You're going to do everything I say, and everybody's going to do the same thing. Well, we don't like to select, okay, you're going to do 400 hydrants, and they're all going to be done at the same time. That's not an opportunity to have a good schedule. So we really do not use Master PM in the facilities and utilities or environment. I'm not sure transportation uses it. So again, this field has to do with that. And over here, forecasting. Forecasting will be covered in detail in PM3. All right. So I'm going to just kind of feature here is the same thing that you looked on that diagram. That's the what, right? So you can do a planned maintenance to a location, a building, environmental pest control, vegetation. Years ago when we didn't have every single piece of the building in Maximo as an asset, they would do roof inspections. They put a building here, but Maximo does not allow you to put both of these features. And you notice here, it's uneditable. This one I can't change. The solid line means I can do the editing. I'm going to come in here and change the status of this one. When I change the status to inactive, it will let me change these. All right. So in case you ever have to do that, no fear, change the status, change it, and then change it back to active. But I'm gonna just demonstrate something here. If I took, if I look at this value and I say, oh, here's my asset, and I know where that asset's located, and I want to put, let me copy that, sorry. We'll put the location up here. It's going to delete the asset. Maximo internally says, well, if you have an asset, I know the location. Well, you give you a location, I'm not going to have the asset here. So it's back and forth, right? Either or. When we do a route, we'll notice that you can do either one of these two with the route, because these two are the ones that are limited. Route is not. So we're going to go back and put the asset number here. And you notice part of the NAVFAC programming, it will show us the location over here eventually, right? Like that, right? And it gives us the zone. It all comes here. You notice this field is uneditable. It's just basically being shown from the asset module, just letting us see it. So PM2 routes. We'll have plenty of that in PM2. Well, here's our job plan, right? Same thing. We put an asset on here. We have to search for the appropriate job plan to do the task we want to perform. And when we build our PM a little later, yeah, it. You remember in the job plans class, if you took it, is you have to search for them. You have to make sure you get the right one. And that's always depending on what we're looking for. And when we build a PM, that's the first thing we're going to have to do is make sure we have the right set of tasks. That job plan carries over this duration. 1440 is in hours, and that is 60 days. All right, we're just going to do it. All right. Okay, that's the duration, 60. Completion target, 60. So for our purposes today, let's see, we have a GL account. Oh, they already put the new ones in there. Hope it works. I'm going to change this here to 30. So when we generate the work order, we're going to generate it twice. I'm going to generate it here to show you that the 30 is going to trump the 1440. All right, here. And job plan duration, here's our additional hours. We're going to add 6 to this 8. We're going to have 14 hours, right, on our first one. And this asset quantity comes from here. If I take this asset out, we lose unit format, we lose the work center, and if the GL account was on the asset, we would lose that. But okay, so when I put the asset in here, it's going to populate these required fields. I come across here. All right. Lead time and its associated field lead time active. Lead time is the number of days before the PM is due that Maximal will allow you to generate work orders without setting it up. So when you go to generate, it says generate work orders due today. It's the same as lead time is here. If I put today plus 14, it will look out 14 days from now and generate whatever's in that window, right? Lead time is the same. Now, if I'm manually generating work orders, every PM that I want to be 14 days out, I would activate it here, all right? Or we can do just what I just did here. Do the query, pull up the PM. When this comes up, you just put today plus 14. Same as setting the lead time, right? So personally, I don't think we ever need to put anything here, especially because typically we do what's called auto generation of PMs. Very few places manually generate the PMs. All right. So let me show you. every FEC had the opportunity to set that lead time window. When they deployed this version of Maximo, sat with each of the FECs with their team and said, okay, let us explain AutoGen. AutoGen will be a process that generates PM work orders from preventive maintenance records every night, and it looks out a number of days based on what you tell me. And so every night, Maximo goes out, pulls all the PMs within that lead time, and attempts to generate work orders. So each FEC actually, oh, it's the same as the asset. Okay, so I go here. All right. So I'm not sure who's here. I know there's some folks from Plant and Southeast. Each FEC had the opportunity to pick the time. So I'm going to go West, no, Mid-Atlantic. Generate work orders due today, plus the number of look up 2 weeks, 14 days, and what was that? Sorry. All right, so it looks out 14 days and generates every PM that falls within that window. Now I'm just going to kind of scroll through these, right? Here's Washington. Maybe something just happened. Oh boy. All right. Washington's 31 days, right? Go back. Hawaii's 45 days. Southeast, 14. Southwest, 21. Northwest, 45. No rule, right? Depends. So depending on what FEC you're out, if I haven't shown you the right number, check with your lead person at headquarters for your FEC. Say, hey, how many days are AutoGen? Hopefully I showed everybody what they had. All right. But check when you get back. So for Midlands, 14. So lead time is already implied. It's already programmed. So the work centers were given the opportunity to either accept or decline it. So once the FEC placed that function in, the work center could drop out. So let's see about ours. All right, so I'm going to go down here, and here's our work center. And each work center has the opportunity right here to either select it or drop out. All right, so first, we definitely encourage all the FECs, look, you should pick one, because if you don't want to use it, you just don't check any of your work centers, right? But later, you can activate that work center and the AutoGen will work, right? So for this work center, WAW P56, every evening, Maximo goes out 14 days, it generates the work. Technician comes in, he or she looks, all my PMs are out for 2 weeks, carry on, right? So lead time. It's an opportunity just to discuss AutoGen, but we don't really have to have it on here. If you want to, you have to first check that. You gotta wait for Maximo to wake up. Then it opens up that field. All right, same thing, 14. That's the same thing AutoGen's doing. All right, let me say this one again. All right. Outage required and overtime.
Carmine, it's Kevin down from Southeast real quick.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks a lot. This class is awesome. I think you said it, but the lead time that's set default for the spec
On
overrides if somebody does the,
this
or
one,
yeah, or is it the longer of the two? Because I was looking while we were talking, I was looking at some Southeast, and I saw that we have 14 days, but then some of the ones I was looking at, it was checked, but it had a 0 in it, and I assume that it's going to go with either the longer of the two
you
or the standard.
check the, can you look at your work center?
Let me
See,
see here.
some work centers decline using the autogen, and they typically you can tell. I don't know if you can see it, but check that
Okay.
out.
Yeah, I'd have to look. And I'm
I could, if you take a note of it, I'll be glad to look at that PM before we shut down. Let me check it
okay.
out.
And this
All
one
right.
is in draft status, so but if both of them are activated, is it the longer of the two?
I think it's be the shorter.
Oh, really?
Personally,
Okay.
personally, yeah. I
Okay.
think. I don't know if the autogen suit, like takes over and ignores the lead time completely.
Okay.
That's what I would think. But
Okay. Interesting.
if the lead time is 12 days, someone has to manually generate that PM. All
Mhm.
right. So if they don't ever manually generate, it's going to use the autogen number.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Interesting. Well, and like I said, this one is in. I just was randomly looking up PMs. This one's a draft, so it may not be the best example, but it did make me think of that. So okay.
And yeah,
All
now
right.
you got me thinking. I think if autogen kicks off, there's nothing in there that says, "Hey, check the lead time." It's just generating, so it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. So, all right,
Oh,
that's
you're right. So if the autogen is already set on for it, may not matter at all what we
yeah, it
do in
may
it.
not matter. That's what I
I
think.
gotcha. And I know they're all, well, I can't say all, but I know that vast majority in Southeast are autogens. So
Yeah,
yeah, that might
typically,
just be a totally wasted effort or field that they used.
no problem.
So okay, awesome. All right, thanks, sir. That makes sense.
You're welcome. All right. So up here, outage required and overtime. There's been a lot of, I guess, since December, there was what was it called? The vectogram came out about flagging outages for utilities operations so we can get the outage requirement out to the client before the PM, et cetera, et cetera. All right, this field's been on here, believe me, since I can remember, and that's a long time. But it was that for that purpose. It basically says, hey, I need to get an outage before I do this PM on the DDC system. So I check it, right? It doesn't do anything. It's checked. So the user needs to come in and query the PMs that, let me change the state, that would be coming out, let's say, next month, next year. Okay, so I'm gonna just put in next Monday. The 18th. All right. All right. So if I did a query last month and said, hey, show me all the PMs due in September that had the outage required field check, comes up. The outage coordinator then would say, okay, I need these, collect them, maybe 3 or 4 of them for the same substation, whatever it may be, and just say, hey, I need to get an outage. Tell these clients we need an outage by September 20th. I generate this work order and then look for the outage. Well, I only have 30 days. Right. And now I'm squeezing my opportunity to complete the work order on time. So that field has been there. They did highlight it in the solution for the vectogram, and I think they created a query to pull up the PMs that hours. That's the purpose of that field. Right. So in some cases you don't need to check. Overtime, it was the same feature for work that we had to do on overtime. When we were Navy working capital and we're charging our clients X amount of dollars, they wanted a financial estimate. Some PMs had to be done on overtime and cost more money. And they were, if I remember, there were some in the galley, some in the hospital. We can't do work in the galley. When they actually used the galley, people were in there all the time, so they had to go at night. So we didn't have a night shift. We had to work overtime. That's what those field is there. Again, may not ever use this one again, but now this one is raised its head. So this is being used by utilities. Sequencing, we'll look at in PM3 And that's where the counter comes in. But the definition of the counter is simply the number of work orders that have been generated by this PM, right? But the user can change it, all right? That becomes the issue when we're doing sequencing. The counter and the sequencing kind of work together, right? But purely, if it's not a sequence PM, this is not checked. This just says we've already done 22 work orders, right? Has children is a system set flag if the PM is part of what we call a PM hierarchy. Like the work order hierarchy here, you can have a PM that's part of a collection of PMs as the parent, and it's kind of like a master PM, but master PM only works on assets of the identical type. PM hierarchy can be, I'm going to do a substation. I'm going to build 4 or 5 PMs for transformers, circuit breakers, switches, and I'm going to put them all together and send them out as a package. And again, we look at that in PM2, multiple assets for a PM. Seasonal, it's funny, it doesn't show that it's defaulted to not check, but it is also a system field. It lets me check this, but check this out. When I save it, if it's not seasonal, it just unchecks it again. So it knows if it's a seasonal PM, and if it is in fact one, it's checked, but it defaults to like you could actually change it, but you can't. I mean, you can't save it. All right, I'm getting there. Cancel date. Uh, Before this version of Maximo, right? You know, notice we had this status, right? If this status is inactive, the PM won't generate. Maximo may pass over this PM and just go, oh, it's inactive, right? Previous versions of Maximo, we had really kind of hard ways to stop generation. There was no status. We all got creative. People put 0 in the frequency. They took the date out. It didn't matter. Maximo would always try to generate it. Well, this cancel date here was a NAVFAC installed program feature that allows us, oh, you know what? This building SP257 is getting, I don't know, a renovation, and we're not going to do PMs in there starting in January. You can put here, and once that date comes, it will stop generating work orders. All right. Now, not sure we still need it, but it's kind of good if you like, well, you know, they told me it's going to end. I'm going to put the dates in here and then it'll stop. And then you can come back here and set them to inactive. You can use your calendar, right, to say, I need to set all PMs for this building to inactive by this date. But this thing still works. So if you put a date in here by accident and then it stops, you need to come here and check. All right, let me go down here. Now we're in the, kind of looks like a service request, right? Data, we got GL account, product and service. All this is required to generate that work order. Master system, system, and subsystem. The uniform net values are coming to for this PM from this asset. And you notice when I pull the asset off, it takes it off, right? If you look here and you go, oh, that's not right, you know, if you change it here, which you can, I'm just gonna, it doesn't change it on the asset, all right? If you know it's wrong, you can go back to the asset, change it, re-pull it. It'll be fixed for good. All right. Now I don't even know what it was. Was it this one? Yeah. All right. So they call these crossover fields. They come with the asset, but once they're landed on your PM, they belong to the PM and you can change them. All right. But if you pull that asset off, it's going to pull it off again. Business line, product and service, category of work. Just like this uniform, it has to do with the what we are servicing, right? Okay. So in here, it's public works, right? This asset is a DDC system, and if you look, oh, I should have just stayed on that. It's a facilities asset type facilities. So it's H1. H1 is schedule work to sustain facilities using preventive maintenance, all right? If this was a utilities circuit breaker, this would be their unit format. This would be public works. This would be the Z11 for utilities. Now, sometimes we get a little confused and we look down here and we say it's a generator for facilities generator, but utilities is working on it. People come here and sometimes change it to Z11. This, I believe, product and service needs to directly be related to what service we're providing, not who, the what. All right. I'm just, because it gets a little confusing for me, and maybe someone here could clear this up for me when we get to the next level. All right. So this is all has to do with the asset we're working on. The GL account. I I yeah, I can't really explain these anymore. It, there's information in this GL account that points to what service we're providing. Here, sustainment, I think, and a location, right? And then a funding code. Now, because we have different FECs, right? I would think we're now all in the same financial system, that we would utilize the same limitations. All right, so I'm going to show you something that I still. All right, I'm going to go to the subwork type application. I think it's in here. Stop. Okay. All right, so you could have a good GL account. You know, you just purchase material with it. It's good. You put it on a PM and it says invalid. You go, wait a minute, I just used that. And you call somebody and they go, well, they call the wrong person. I don't know. And then you finally find somebody. But in Maximo, every work type and subtype has a limitation of what GL accounts you could use. All right, so I'm going to go PM facilities. Come down here. We have 6 of them, right? And there's our CH. And I don't, you know, it'd be nice to know what they really meant, but there's the same letter. So, okay, we got 6 of them. Now I'm going to go to utilities. No, we only have 4, right? And one of them is like not the same. Okay, so I don't know why they're not the same. Here's what is even more. I'm going to switch my FEC. Now we had 6, right? 4 facilities and 4 for utilities. Let's go to Southeast. Oh, I got 15 now. All right, here. I got 15 here. At least they're the same in Southeast. So I'm not, you know, shooting holes in it. I just think you got to talk to your maximum project managers and people and understand which GLs are valid for my work types, because it's different everywhere you go. So this, again, kind of like the AutoGen, right? Make note of which GL accounts are good in your FEC. All right. So we saw the one we had is, I just remember that. Okay, because I moved, sorry. Let me go back. All right, so we have a good GL account. There's this, hopefully, right? Now it'll tell me too, if I take, now that we're in the middle of the end of year thing for acceptance. Let's just see if this one's good. Looks like it's good, it took it. All right, we're safe. All right. Customer reference code, CLIN, storeroom, and storeroom site. I'm gonna bail. I'm gonna go to the user guide. Let's find those. All right. Down here, keep going. There. Notice here, customer reference code, a validated list of customers, right? That's my definition for you. CLIN. If this PM is part of a base support contract, contract line item number associated with the PM can be entered here as long as the value exists in the list, right? Storeroom and storeroom site. All right. The storeroom for materials on a PM with associated job plan. So these fields here are pretty much PWD specific. They're corporately, there's no mandate to use the customer reference code. And like they said, I come here, it's just a list of every tenant, right? Everybody. Okay. So if I want to put who's affected by this DDC system, I can, right? I also have the person that's paying for it, but I can put the customer that's here. The CLIN from Mid-Atlantic, not a lot. If I go to Southeast, there's tons of them. So we have boss contractors. You can select. I don't know what this has to do with, but you know, me, I don't know. Let's just sort these. See. Okay. That's the purpose of these. So if I want to track how many PMs I sent on a contract line item, I have to make sure I put it here. It doesn't automatically populate it. Storeroom and storeroom site, if I have material on the job plan, which should be a rarity, it's going to say that's the storeroom that's going to issue the part, right? So very rare do we see anything in here except that, right? I know some FECs are adamant about using the customer reference code. Matter of fact, not just effect, but a PWD in effect may be adamant about doing, but not everybody at the effect does it. So it's optional, all right? Here, to the right of that, you have, you know, whoever's on the computer changing the PM is here. If it's kind of strange, if I generate a work order and the work order is generated by AutoGen, it'll say here, I think max admin or something like that, because the system generated the work order and ended up changing this next date. And then it shows up there and you go, wait a minute, who is that? Well, that's the system. All right. Use this PM to trigger a PM hierarchy. It always comes checked, right? It defaults that way. I don't think you can change it. Here, child work orders and tasks will inherit statuses. You can change this, right? However, if you uncheck it, I think our job plan had like 90 tasks, didn't it? Which is probably, I don't want to generate a work order with this many in it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to change the job plan because just because I don't want, yeah, it'll take a little while. All right. So if you uncheck it, those 94 tasks are actually work orders in Maximo. They're called task work orders. But if you uncheck this and you complete the work order, I went out and did it, the task work orders won't change status. And I did a query like a month ago or just messing around. There are a lot of task work orders out there. Their parents are gone. The top level work orders have disappeared because they were completed and closed and the tasks are just sitting out there. So you don't want to uncheck this, all right? I don't care what it may cause. Like some people say, well, I do a route-based PM. I don't want to deal with the parent, so I'm going to take this out. I'm like, now you've not messed up the parent. Now all the tasks are the same way. So I'd leave it checked. All right. Now we're in the work order information according to this panel. Now, here's where I've never really received any clear guidance, so I'm going to just make this stuff up. This work type and subtype, right, I think has to do with who's doing the work. Remember, I was talking about the what up here? I think this is the who. Even when we do metrics and we review completion of work on time, you can search by the work center and never use this. All right. So if I've already determined up here, it's facilities type asset, right? and like I said, it was a generator and utilities is doing the work or transportation, I think that should be aligned with the people who are doing the work. And I don't think it matters because the work order is still going to end up at this work center, right? But to have some kind of just plan or situation, I would say, I'm gonna look here. Here's my work center. I'm gonna come here and change that, and that's where the work's gonna go. That's me. I've looked for guidance, and all I have is an older version of the work types, and it just tells you what it is. It doesn't tell you when to use it. So let me see something if I find it. And if anybody knows any more, I'll take it. Let me. I think it's in here. Here. All right. So this was a document they handed out, obviously, when we went to the single financial system. They consolidated work types and subtypes because before this, every FEC PWD had multiple work types in a given category because there were financial rates associated with them. Now, look, there you go. And it always just goes back and forth, right? Facilities and utilities. Well, if I have the utilities work center and everything else, I don't know why I need this, but it's the same thing for PMs, right? Just says utilities related executed work per this. So if I'm executing it, I'm going to put utilities in there, right? Facilities related executed. You get it? All right. So there you go. I actually really don't think it matters because when you do the search for metrics, you can use that. Not worry about that. But it's here, so you have a consistent way to pick it, then you know what the outcome is. All right. Work order status. We're getting there. In about 10 minutes, we'll take a break just to get through these fields. All right. This is the initial status of the work order when it's generated. So back to our little picture, right? This work order is going to come out and it's going to have a work type and subtype, like we said, and it'll have a status, right? That work order is going to get dropped into a work center, right? Depending on how they look for initiated work and assign it and do everything, it says, hey, this status is WSCH is restricted to work that's generated from a PM. All right. So it's a good choice. However, it's a free for all. I can pick any status I want. All right. Now, again, like look at your PMs and your FAC or PWD and just kind of search on that and see what they're using. I've seen in progress, which is kind of weird because you just generate a work order and it's already being worked. I've seen approved, which makes a lot more sense. Because then all the work that's coming in, whether it's from a service request, right, it's approved. So everything is new. So that would make sense. And obviously the WSCH kind of sets it aside as being from PMs, but we know it's a PM work order. So I would think approved. Waiting schedule would be the only two that you could pick here, but they give you everything. So it's dangerous. All right. Priority. Always an interesting field. I think right now, because we're doing work order completion on time, priority is set by the target completion date. I think, I have to do that by next week. Priority moves up. This list is the same everywhere you see the priority element, right? It's on asset, it's on locations, it's on job plans, it's on PMs. This one gets delivered to the work order, right? And there are some calculations in the back of Maximo based on if I take the priority, I can make the work order priority a percentage of the equipment, the asset, the location, and then it ends up on the work order. This goes directly to the work order, right? And there have been conversations and continue to be conversations about, well, I'm going to prioritize my PMs. Well, you already prioritized them. You got a target completion date. So you're gonna make it more important, make it a 5. Okay. In your mind, you've made it more important. The shop doesn't ever look at that today. So um, you can prioritize your PMs, but the execution agent is not today yet. Interruptible start and finish constraint have to do with a scheduling tool that IBM built to combine with Maximo. We don't use it, so we can ignore those. All right. Supervisor, crew, lead, work center, owner. Wow, everything. All right. Now, I think if I go to this work center, right, you can assign people to the work center. Okay, you go here and you add people, right? If there are people here assigned, the default person will be the supervisor, right? You can't choose anybody else. If there's nobody here, you can put anybody in supervisor, right? Okay. And I don't know what that just means is, oh, the supervisor got to get it. Well, the supervisor in the work center, he or she will get it, right? The crews can be, and when we migrated data, right, we brought in all kinds of information for the crew. And look, these are just people's names. And this is shops, right? Some places have trades in here when we migrated, right? Crews can be just about anything. It can be a qualified crew, high voltage, 2-man crew. All right. Maybe I have 3 or 4 of those and they're assigned by name somewhere. You can use them geographically to assign work to a specific area on the base, which I think what Midland did. If we'll switch to Southeast, we'll see different crews, but it's here to help you assign work based on maybe qualifications, location, whatever you may use. All right. So it's opportunity to collect work for a certain group or area. Lead is the actual technician, right? So if I knew that every time I'm giving this DDC out, it's going to me, right? Let's put that in there. All right. When the work order is generated, it's already assigned to me, right? So assigning the work order, whether it's service, projects, PMs, the lead field tells you who's got to work, right? So pre-assigned. Always need a work center. That's where it's going to drop. That's where the work order is going to end up. And somehow it's going to get eventually assigned to a lead or a crew or somebody eventually. This one is required. Let's take this out. It's a required field. Oh boy, what was it? Was it 6? Anybody remember? It is now. All right. The owner, it could be you. It's tied to the people field. And basically say, oh yeah, I want this to be mine. So I can look up every PM that I, built. All right. Or someone can find you. So I don't know if you want to put your name on there, but you can. All right. Craft. Go with this. Let's do this while I'm here. I'm changing this job plan because it has too many tasks. All right. And I'm just gonna. I should have picked another one, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, that's what happens with this. All right. All right, so we have all these. These are not a whole lot of active ones. Let's get to active. I'm just gonna change it because when we generate it, it's 94 tasks. It takes a little while. So we can just do this little one. This one should be a lot less, right? Daily, semi-annual, Let's see what this is. 54, not much better. Let me go back. I'm just going to do the. Yeah, this is fine. All right, 2 hours for this one. Just remember. So we got this craft, right? When we assign the craft in the job plan, you pick from the list of crafts that should be available in your local PWD work center. The person or people that are assigned the work are going to look by the craft and assign it to the people that fit that mold, right? So this is what I don't even know what this is. Inspector, industrial control mechanic. Okay, obviously. All right, let's go back here. So now I'm going to bring this job plan back to my PM, and it will switch the duration. All right, save it. All right, so now 2 hours labor plus 6, 8 hours. This is 144 because it's a daily, but I got 30 here. I'm going to leave this in here. We're going to make it still trump that. All right. The craft on here is EI. This is EI. When we first deployed, there was no craft, or let me put it, the PM work order was not bringing the craft to the work order. It was, you had to come down here and populate it. Well, even though I have a job plan that has a trade, a craft, it wasn't using it. Well, as I, go through and do the training, I'm realizing, wait a minute, I'm going to put a pipe fitter here. Okay. Now when the work order is generated, it pulls the craft from here, the job plan. So this is kind of OBE. You don't even need this field anymore. All right. So, but I'm putting here to show you when we generate, it's going to be EI, not PF for pipe fitter. All right. This is we're doing this last tab, and we're going to take 5 minutes. So on here, this tells you, number one, the frequency, which is kind of self-explanatory, but you have the number and then you have the units, right? And specifically speaking, the 503, I don't know if it talks to which ones you should use. Let's go up here. That's 8. That's pretty far. Well, you know what? I'll look for it later. But basically, I don't want to hold you up. But basically, it just makes sense, right? You can use. You never see hours, but someone was really getting crazy. They could days, probably not. These are the 3 you see mostly, right? Some people, it all depends. If I use weeks, the work orders come out on the same day of the week. So if it's a monthly and I say 4 weeks and it's starting on a Monday, it'll always be a Monday, right? Some people like that, but you can do that in the seasonal one. So months, right? Quarterly, 3 months, monthly, 1 month, 12 months for annual. 12 months. Why use 12 months? I could use 1 year. It's the same thing, right? So in this case, we have a daily in there, so I'm just going to make this monthly, all right? Just so we can, and then it changes that, and I can't explain, to be honest with you. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Just watch it, and you can change it back. All right. Alert. If I took this DDC and put it on a work order, someone goes in the building and is like, there's smoke coming out of the DDC, and I got to put an emergency call in. You have to put the asset ID on that service request to generate a work order. This alert, if they generated a work order today and my alert was 20, it would say, hey, you have a PM that's coming up within 20 days. You want to generate that work order. That's what that alert is. So we have to be placing the asset ID on the routine or service emergency urgent call to get the alert to do anything. So you can place these in here. And until we start putting asset IDs on service requests, it won't do anything, but that's what that's for, okay? Now I'm gonna move up to this work order generation. Key field, use last work order's start date to calculate next due date, and it's checked. So I come down here and it says, okay, use last work order start date. Well, I don't see a start date here, right? But the estimated next due date is typically the last start date of the work order. So I'm gonna go back here. And it says, the next one, it's right there, right? So the last one was February 1st. Our next one is going to be September 18th. Once it's generated, it calculates the next due date. We generate it, it looks over here, it says, all right, next one is going to be October 18th. Right. Keep going, November, and it just keeps updating this next due date when we generate, all right? If it's unchecked, I'm not going to uncheck it because it's going to change that date again. It waits for the work order to be completed, then it adds the frequency, right? Maximum calls this situation here being checked as a fixed schedule. That means every month you get a work order on the 18th. Boom, boom. If it's a monthly, you're going to get 12 work orders that come out on the 18th. If it's unchecked, I give you this one, right? It comes out on the 18th. You don't get it done until the 25th. The next one is October 25th. October 25th comes out, you don't get it done until November 10th. The next one is December 10th. By the end of the year, even though it's monthly, maybe you get 8 or 9 work orders, and the date has shifted the entire year. The schedule just keeps moving. And they call it a rolling schedule, right? Because that's what it does. It moves. When you generate and this thing is checked, this thing goes blank, right? Until you complete it, and then it gets populated. All right. Now, I believe for certification purposes, it made sense. People explained to me, I have to go certify that elevator 365 days plus or minus 20 from the last time I did it. So yeah, complete the certification, set the frequency, it tells you when you have to be there next year. Other than that, I think we're using fixed schedule. Extended date is another way to generate this work order before its due date. So if I say, hey, you know what, I'm going to do this today. Maximum will assume you want this generated today. But we saw already, I can come in here and say generate today plus, 5, 6 days. It's just another way. And the difference is this. If I check this box and generate, it'll generate for the 14th and will also adjust the next one to October 14th. If I just do this, it's just going to generate it and move this to October 18th. All right. So it's just another way to generate a work order from this PM before it's due. All right. Okay. Quick topic for meter based. All right. This is time based selected. If I go here, I can have a meter based PM in conjunction with a time base, like vehicles, right? 5 months, whatever, 6 months, over 5,000 miles, whatever. But I have to keep feeding the meter, sorry. I can set a meter on an asset. It has to be a continuous type meter, like runtime, not DDC feature like CFM. It goes up and down. If that's a monitoring point, it's a little different. This has to be a continuous meter. So if I set the frequency to 100 hours, every time I read it, it will determine when I'm going to reach that next 100 hours and will set that next due date, right? So if I had both, and this was a month, and it was due here on the 18th, I could have meter readings in there. If it never reached 100, it would generate, and then it would reset. The meter says, okay, you gotta start over because I generated a work order. And if I never get to 100 hours before the month's up, I'm always going to use time base. I think Monterey, somewhere out in the west, they're using this and they're feeding meter readings in. If I have to send someone out to read the meter, shoot, I might as well just forget this because they'll go out there 10 times and they spend that all their time and go, oh, well, guess what? I'm still generating it. So unless we have automatic meter readings coming in, I fail to see the use of this if I have to send somebody out. That's all. All right. Okay. All right. So let's take, I don't know, come back at 20 minutes after the hour and we'll generate this work order and we'll create one and I'll answer any questions we may have again. We'll just go through and see what happens when we move the data around. All right. So yeah, take a little walk, use the restroom, whatever you may do. I'll be back at my time at 9:20. All right, I hope everybody's back. I'm gonna generate this PM so we could get back on track. I'm gonna actually, well, if I try to generate this one now, even though my date is 9/18, right? I could come here and I can extend the lead time past the 18th. I'm gonna put in 5 days. And I'm just gonna walk through it. Immediately you should say, oh, it's not active. All right, we'll change it to active. All right. Now again, if I do it this way without extending it, it says it's not due yet, right? Because it said 0 days, right? It's due the 18th. So now let's do it for real. Now, if I was in production and I managed to just generate this, or I created this PM, right? I can go home, and because my AutoGen extends 14 days, when I come in tomorrow, this thing will be generated. All right. So every night it just goes out those number of days. So if AutoGen ran last night, right? Tonight it's only going out 14 days again. 13 of those days is already done. So really, it's only picking up days that PMs at the end or PMs that were fixed and moved into that window. All right. So we're going to generate this one now. And when you select it, you have the option to run it in the background or not. So we're going to do this one like so. We're going to just let it go. And as it's generating this way, not in the background, it's communicating with my computer and it sits up on the screen. You can't do anything in PMs. All right. So I'm going to go to the manual. All right. All right. I'm going to go through the tabs of the actions, what we can do to the PM, but we went through the fields, and we're going to create one. And we're talking about this already, querying and updating multiple PMs. All right, I just want to make sure I cover most of the stuff. And see, it does take a little while. If it had 94 tasks, yeah, we'd be here a while. Or there like 5? All right, so here's our work order. Right, I don't need to copy it. I'm going to look it up by PM when I get there. And I hit OK. And now our date is October 18th, right? And our turnaround time on our first one is going to be 30 because I have something in that field. So now I'm going to take this out. It also would be 8 hours because there's 2 hours on the job plan plus 6. So I'm going to just change this to 2, right? Now our next one is 144. Let's see what that is. I don't even know what that is. 6 days, right? So our next work order is going to be due on the 18th of October. It's going to have 6 days to complete it. And I'm going to make this 6 too. That'll be easy for me to remember. It'll be 6 hours. Or the 2 hours on there plus 4, 6. All right. Now, generate this one. Well, now it's due October 18th. So it's what, 35? I don't even know. I'm going to put 40 days. It should work, right? I'm going to put it in the background. Now in the background, it will email me. I think the email thing is off on the acceptance, but and they have some erroneous email, so it doesn't work. So that one's it. Now when you run it in the background and you hit OK, all right, now it's gone. It's doing its thing. It doesn't talk to you, so it's in the back there generating work order, and it'll send me an email or try to anyway. And we'll come back to this PM. When we see the date moves to November, it's already done. All right. I don't think it's this quick, but let's just check this out. Yeah, it's already done. See, that's how fast it is when it's out there and not coming back to you. So we'll look at these when we're done. Now we're going to go to Southeast, just to switch up a little bit. And we're gonna pull up a utilities one. Just take a look. It's the same thing. I'm gonna create a utilities PM. Right. Now, two ways. I won't say create, but you can duplicate a PM. So I'm going to look up, we're going to query Southeast for utilities-based PM, electrical utilities. I'm going to use the master system. And for utilities, I think it's J10, just so I know. All right, so I'm going to just pick electrical utilities. I'm going to go to Fort Worth. All right, that's wrong. All right, so now when I pick location here, that's the location that you don't populate. You know what I mean? So you don't want to use that. If I'm looking for an asset-based PM, I'm going to come down here. All right. And I want it to be an asset-based PM, just like we saw, no route. So I want Fort Worth electrical utilities PM based on an asset with no route assigned, and I want it active. Now, maybe we don't have any, but we'll find out in a minute. Okay, wake up. I'll go back here. Well, let's sometimes leave and find it. All right. There is the option to update more than 1 PM at a time. It's the same feature as you have update work orders. I think there's service requests. I don't know if there's one in locations, but there's one in assets and there's one in PMs and no records. Okay, let's try this. Let's just take that out. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so here's a transformer, Gulfport. All right, we got an asset-based PM for a transformer. Notice here you have no duration. All right, now it's not a problem because they put 90 here, but 90 is a problem, right? 90 exceeds the 503. Oh, I skipped off of that thing. All right, there is no 90. Now, remember what I alluded to at the beginning that, hey, they're changing it here? They're talking about it anyway, like make it 60 or 90 days or something like 6 months or something like that. Should be 6 months. Well, they are changing. They're talking about changing them. When utilities deployed their phase 4 PM plan, annuals were allowed to have 90 days, right? That's where that came from. And it's still there, right? And if you go to frequency, it's 5 years, right? So you give them 90 days. It's coming out every 5 years, okay? All right. So they're still talking about changing it, right? So they go in and they look at, when they start monitoring data, they're going to say, oh, it's 5 years, that should be 60. Well, look, the job plan duration is wrong. Now, example, that's kind of weird. I don't know what this is. Paint the transformer. Okay. All right. There's no duration. There's no description. When you get to this point, you should update the job plan, right? If you see that, you might as well just come over here, come down here, and we revise it. All right. I'm just going to do it. Just so you can see. All right, if you see that on your PM and you inherit the PM program, you know, it's yours now to take care of. You can come in here and update this. And so now I have the pending revision job plan. I don't know what we painted. What are we painting? Surface, right? I'm making something up. All right, here we go. Now I come down here. If I'm using it on that 5-year thing, this needs to be 1440. That's 60 days. Save it. All right. So I fixed the description, fixed the duration, come down here, it has painter, 4 hours. That's fine. Good, good, good. Right. Now, I still can't use it, but once I change the status to active, the next work order that's generated is going to use these values. All right. And okay, the notice still 0. What I found is you have to refetch this PM, and then it comes in. All right, because we changed the job plan, but we didn't change the PM, so we have to pull it back in. And now we have 60, but we still have 90 here. Take that out, and it's 60. All right, this is just before I duplicate it. So now I have to do paint another transformer. All right, and I have this PM here, and I'm in Southeast. So I just go, all right, I'm gonna duplicate it. And it's somewhere down here, right? When I duplicate this PM, I mean, it literally is duplicating everything, right? And except that PM number, right? So that PM ID is generated for each FEC, typically just a sequential number. You can leave it like that. It's unique. Some people like to, put whatever, like make it smart numbering. I'm going to just put PDT in front of it, eventually. All right, there you go. Save it. Once I save it, I can't change it. All right. Now everything else is in here. It's in the draft status, same asset number, same job plan, everything. No dates, they were taken out. If I come back here, frequency is the same, but no date. All right. So simply, right, put a new asset in here, go find another transformer, and here we are in Gulfport. All right. So all the pieces from the other classes they kind of meld into when you're managing PMs, because now I got to search for an asset. And so the asset search here is it Go? Go like that. Come down here, up here. Use the classification, utilities, find the transformer. Or transformers with an X. All right. A little redundant operating. And we go back here. This should come up. If I knew the location, it'd be easier, but it's going to search something. So duplicating, you get everything. You get the job plan, you get the GL account, you get the asset, the whole deal. So if I'm doing a bunch of transformers, painting them, I'm just going to create one, start duplicating, change the asset. And this probably will take a little. Or I create a PM from scratch. And for me to do that, I'm going to steal the GL account. All right. And I don't even know which one. I'm just going to pick one. All right. Put it over there and then return. All right. So that's duplication. Come in here. I want this one to come out. It's a 5-year one. So we're going to work this one November 6th. All right. It's all activated. It's ready to go. All right. Now, across the top, let me this. We'll go back to our other one when I get there. Create one from scratch. Excuse me, I gotta get a Geo account. So I'm gonna go back to Midland. All right. We'll pull up RPM that we did. I'm gonna just grab the Geo account off here because I don't really know how quickly to find them. All right. And I'm just gonna come here, I'm gonna hit insert. All right. So this is from scratch. This is what you get. All right. Now in the job plan for the PDT class, not job plan, the class guide, there's like a in the appendix, it's kind of like a desk guide, right? And I think it's still valid, but it basically kind of just highlights, hey, if you build a PM, you want to look at these. These are required. The red, right? The blue or process required, not the system. The system's not going to make you put anything in here, but the process dictates that, right? And some are optional, like out is required, right? They're all based on the functionality. So you kind of review these fields. If I go through a PM here, and I'm going to put PDP in there, and we're going to do a all right, we'll do a pump, utilities pump. I'm going to come here, not an app. I'm going to look for an asset first. So again, typically when you get here, you know what you're PMing. I'm going through the process of finding assets when I do it. So I'm going to go to Little Creek. Here, I'm going to go to asset type utilities, operating. And again, I like the fact that I can use this classification to find my pump. All right. Okay. Return with value. Bring it to the PM. So now I have my asset, right? It populates the unit format. It populates the work center for me. Nice, right? Now check the key fields. Come down here. I need a job plan. All right. Same type of search, right? For a job plan for pump is, I think my site doesn't populate because I have multiple site access. And when you come to job plans, it's kind of weird. It doesn't put your default site in there. I want active. I can use the same classification. This makes life a little easier. Active site. Okay, fine. So here you go. So I'm gonna just pick one. Semi-annual, I think. Yeah, let's see. Okay. It's 1440. So this can be, it's a 60-day, right? Turnaround time. And it's 19 tasks and I have IQ 4 hours. Okay, so we got 4 hours of labor, right? Here's the 60 days. I'm gonna just roll with it. I need to add some time. They need to get over to where the location is. I'm gonna give them 20 minutes. Now, when you add any information to this hour or the job plan hours, anytime you see where it says some type of duration, you can enter minutes using a colon, right? Let's just say it's a weird number like 75 minutes, right? Save it, it converts it to, oh, sorry. All right, I gotta go down here and pop it. See it? Hour and 15 minutes. Okay. Or I can put it in hour colon 15, or I can put it in tenths of an hour. And I have no idea what that is, but if it's 1.6, now it's going to give me another error or something. I don't know if it'll change it. It'll change it to hours and minutes using tenths of an hour. So let me populate these. All right, business line, public works. Remember, now we're working on a utilities asset, right? Z11. And then my category of work is limited to what's there. I come down here. Now look, utilities work center, PM, utilities. Did that change yet? Yeah, so it changed, see? All right, so tenths of an hour, colon, minutes, it could be, 165 minutes, it'll convert it. Oh. So we're just gonna add 30 minutes. All right, there. Now, I'm not gonna put anything here. We're gonna use what's coming out of that job plan. All right, let me take a step back. So I put PM number, asset, job plan here. Do I need an outage to do this pump? No, it's a redundant pump. I don't need one. Come back here. Notice this is checked, just like we were talking about earlier, right? And it's not going to matter, right? It's set to 0, which means it's only going to use the date, right? And if I have autogen, it ignores that anyway, right? We just come down here. I don't have any information on this one. Got this, that. I need a GL account, right? Did I copy it? I didn't even copy it. Oh, yes, I did. Thank goodness. All right. Here. Okay, good. Save it. All right. Now, what do I need? I need to flip over here. And it's 6 months. And it's going to be due the 18th. All right. I kind of cruise through it, but if you look at the appendix, really, when you use an asset, it populates a lot of these fields, right? And you just fill in the remainder. This PM is ready to generate a work order. All right. And not really, because it's in the draft status. So I'm going to change this one to active, and I'm going to generate it. And A plus 5. Do it in the background. I'm not even going to change that. See what happens. All right. All right. So we're generating a couple of work orders. We're going to go look them up by PM number. Let me copy that. That's the other PM number. Now I'm just going to wrap up some of the stuff on the, not that one. All right. We're going to look at these tabs when we talk about seasonality, sequencing, PM hierarchy. All these tabs will be the focus of these when we do it in class in PM 2 or 3, right? PM history is a audit trail of, I think it's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 fields, right? And you have to look through here. So look, today I've changed all these. But if you move from one to the next, right? What did I change here? I don't see anything. Do you? Did I change something? I don't know. But from going from here up, I still didn't change anything. I honestly, you have to look across here. Oh, here you go. I changed years to months here, right? Okay. And I changed when it generated, right? It changed to October. This one changed to, and I took the completion target out. So it's kind of strange, but as work orders are generated, you see the system, you see other people's names in here, and you kind of walk through here and figure out what was changed in these 7 fields, and sometimes I just don't find anything. I think if anything's changed, it pops it up there. All right. Lastly, changing multiple PMs. All right. I have a set query I do in my head. I'm just going to pick all the PMs for a certain building. All right. And it is in, okay. This is a query that will actually select all the PMs for a building at Little Creek, regardless if it's route-based or asset-based. So it's a little complicated, but it's going to bring up 70 something PMs or something like that. But I'm going to change them all. Okay, so that's from. All right, we got 40. All right, 40 PMs. They're active. I see this work center. It's kind of all over the place, right? I'm going to change them all to WALP53. All right. I need to change them all. We're changing work centers. You have to use the select records option, right, first. And from the 40, if I want to do them all, I just pick up top and it selected all of them. If I don't want to do this one for some reason, uncheck it. Now, update PM is the feature. If you don't see update PM in the more actions options, you submit an STS ticket to have, it's a special, or I want to say special, it's an additional permission for working PM. And here is the list of fields that are editable, right? You only pick one at a time. I know it's like, man, I want, so it's safer. I'm picking the work center. I come down here and I type in, I hit update. All right, so you can do like up to 200 records. You know, imagine if you have to change the GL account or, I mean, it's done. Now, if you look at these, yeah, we're all 5.3 except that one I did pick in the middle. All right. Okay. That's called update PMs. Multiple PMs can get updated from the front end. It's also available, same type of feature on assets. It's limited to the fields that are in that list. All right. If you find yourself updating many PMs of the field that's not here, I would just contact your Maximo project manager, and he or she can submit a request to have the field added. It's pretty much a pass through. Pretty much, you raise their hand, say, okay, they'll add it, because some of them are kind of weird to me anyway. But someone might need them. All right. All right. Go to work orders and see how we did, right? We have 3 work orders we generated. First, I'm gonna look up by PM number. I'm gonna go here and pull up the top one. All right. Now, Notice here, these are R2. This one was generated earlier, right? And so we'll look at these. Let's see which one was first. Bottom one. All right. All right. So if anybody remembers, first one had 8 hours, had 6 additional hours and 2 hours on the job plan, right? 8. Also, the craft we put on the PM was pipe fitter, but look what we see here from the job plan. So the craft field on the PM is really OBD. They don't really, it's not doing anything. It's pulling the craft from the job plan. Go here, and we see the target finish date, right? It is 30 days. That's what was on there. Even though that what the if you go to work order detail, you can see the duration was 144, but I got 30 days here. All right. So I've manipulated the data on the PM to manipulate the work order. If I go to the next, we'll have to go backwards. This one here is actually 6 days. That's the 6 days. Also, the labor was 6 hours. I made it the same, remember, so I can remember. You go to the plan tab of this work order. This is where you see the tasks. These are the task work orders. Matter of fact, if you open one of these up, you come down here, that's the work order number of the task itself. All right. So they're here. As you complete the top work order, these will get completed. All right. So those key fields on the PM, right? Completion target, job plan duration, and our labor from the job plan plus the additional hours. Realize if I don't have labor on the job plan, the additional hours don't mean anything. It's not like you can add, it just, there's no craft there. Right? If there's a craft and 0 hours, it may add the additional hours, but if there's no craft, you're not going to get any time. And then it would be virtually impossible to do some type of forecast, right? Estimate. How many hours do I need of HVAC technicians for PMs? Well, I don't have any hours in the PM job plan, so I can't tell. So job plan labor should be a must. All right. I do appreciate your time as usual. And you will get a survey in email probably by the end of today. That survey is going to be how the certificate is sent to you. So reply with that survey and the certificate gets sent. All right. I do appreciate it. Are there any questions before we take off?
Yes, I have one, if you have a second.
Sure, I have. Go ahead.
So, and this is coming from the more of the metrics reporting aspect.
Okay.
One thing we're kind of struggling to understand here is, so like, let's say you have a PM, it's open for 30 days, it starts in 1 month, ends in the next, and is completed in the next. Is it counted in the month it was completed or the month it was started?
Okay. There is which report are you looking at? Because it makes a difference. The new Tableau metrics that are run for PMs
Yes.
use let me go back in time. Probably before that vectogram came out, we were observing work that was executed in that month. All right. So if I wanted to know how my batting average was in August, I looked for all the work I completed in August. Then I tell if I was on time or late. All right. So that gave up at headquarters that they were thrown back by that. They were like, well, why do I have so many PM work orders that are still open? And you show me you're completing, 98% of the work on time. Well, for that month I did, right? The work I did that month, 98% of it was on time. I didn't tell you the work I didn't do, right? So they flipped the script and they basically said, you know what? Now I'm going to look at work that was scheduled for the month and see how I did. Follow me? So
I
it
think so.
depends. It depends on what report you look at because they actually published both of them, which is, I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you showing me both? But they both are still there. And I'll show you where they're in here, right? When I go to the metric suite. I do it. Right, yeah, do that. No, I come down here. In here, they also have legacy. See that? That's
Yeah.
that's the old way. If you come up here and we do a month for where we want to pick, I'll pick one. So to simply answer your question, this report looks at the work that was scheduled. So your discussion was, okay, if I have 1,000 work orders that were due in August, and now I go look, and there are still 40 of them open, they show those in this report, right? They just show you the work you did that was scheduled in August, even though you might have done work that was scheduled in September, right? We don't care about that in this report. I just care about work that was scheduled for the month or the period I pick on this Tableau report.
Yeah, because it seems like as time goes by into the next month, you're 2 or 3 weeks now into the next month. You look every week, and it seems like the numbers change each
Yeah,
week.
and it will because now they're working September's work, right? They should be.
Yeah.
And it had always been a challenge because not just for PMs, if I look at routine calls, which to me, after looking at reports and being around a while, routine are the ones that just keep getting shoved back. They just keep getting shoved because
Yeah.
we focus now on PMs. We got emergency work now. Routine, you can do the same report on routine work, but I'm getting a little better at this, but I think this is what I do. I pause it first because it lets me set all these here.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with this report?
Yes. Yes. I
All
use it
right, so
every
I don't
month.
have to. Okay, so the answer is this. This report looks for work that is scheduled between the time you pick. All right. And then it shows how we did. Period. If I go to that legacy report, see how this one says filter date by target complete? If I hit this actual finish, it flips it back to the legacy method. So Chris May keeps
Oh, okay.
he keeps getting tweaked to keep changing these reports. So I keep looking. And if I do this, it's now the old way. It's now showing me what I've done in the month, not what should have been done. So be careful of that right there. All right.
Okay. So yeah, I think I want actual finish.
Okay. Yeah. And you can. If I look for the work that is scheduled and I pick a reasonable, I go to July. Let's say I pick July 1st. And that's what's weird. If you don't have that, it keeps redoing it every time. So I go. All right. So now I just want a month's work that I actually finished that month, right? If I flip this, show me the work that should have been done in July and show me how I did. It's a whole different picture. So I think this is the way the Admiral wanted to display our performance. It's like, hey, this work was scheduled. How did we do? Because the other way was there was a lot of work orders that stay open forever and never show up anywhere.
Okay.
Because
Yep.
all we were ever looking at is work we completed, not work that we didn't complete. So,
Okay.
all right. And
Okay.
there's
Thank you.
and you can if you want more info, there's a metrics class. You can jump in and we spend hours or at least an hour and a half talking about them. So, all right.
Really? Yeah. Could
Okay.
I get some information on that?
Yeah, just go to the same, if you go to the PDT site where you register for this one and look for Is that how you did it? I can send you the
Yeah.
link for the PDT calendar, and you can see when metrics will be offered next. And I think we're kind of we're at a tight crossroads here because they're switching the application that supports PDT, and they're not letting us schedule any work, at least up to today, for next fiscal year yet. So you might have to wait a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't.
Yeah,
All right.
that makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
Carmine, do you mind throwing, it's Kevin again, do you mind throwing that link into the chat? Because I'd like to
Yeah, I'll do
grab
it right
that
now.
too. And
Okay.
then I know it's already 10, and I know I would like to ask a couple questions. I know they're gonna be metrics related, but I'd like to ask a couple more on the Tableau if you have a couple minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so back on the screen that you were running there for PM's Tableau.
This one here.
Yeah, basically that graphic right there, the
Uh-huh.
green, yellow, red. So so I think it's like 3 questions in a row. So first one is I'd heard rumors that there's a 5-day grace period before a PM goes into miss, but then I heard no, that's bad gouge. I think that the truth is that no, once it's missed, right?
Well, I think, yeah, they the PM working group talks about those rules, and I don't attend it every time, but I believe it's this. The system, say it's a monthly PM, which is easy for me to discuss. It's
Yep.
it's due by the 30th. I don't get to it. Well, the next one's already generated, right? By the lead time. So Maximo looks and says, okay, you didn't complete that one on time. It is now the first of next month. Time's up. That's the 5 days. It waits. And then it will set it to miss. But you already missed it, right?
Okay.
But system-wise, you can't see it missed until that period. And they do modify the rules. They were concerned about, hey, maybe the technician has the work order in his or her truck, and they're, whole labor, putting labor on work orders is different. Maybe take 2 or 3 days, someone finally get to put labor in. So they don't do anything. Assume that they give the person or work center time to complete the work order, do the paperwork. You know what I mean? Then
I
they'll do
got
it.
you. Yeah, yep. Okay. And then the completed but late, I
Right.
assume that, let's say it was completed but late 3 weeks late. I assume that if I had looked in Tableau, maybe like right in the middle, like at the week and a half mark, and I was tracking that, the life of that work order, I assume it would be showing in missed.
No,
And
it doesn't ever show in missed until the work order status is set to missed.
oh, so how does a
And late,
completed but late work order happen then?
all right, if I have an annual that's due on the 30th, the next one's not coming out till next year, right? So I just, I got a lot of work. I push it 2 weeks later. I do the annual. It was due in July, but I actually finished it in August. That's late. But the next one's not on.
Oh,
The next one's on. Yeah, go ahead.
so that annual, if it's due in August and I don't do anything with it, it's not going to show on this missed report for a full year.
It shows up in there as an open. There's an
It
open
shows
one.
up as open past target date. That was going to be my next question is what
There.
is open past target? Okay, so that's super cool. So
All right.
the time period in between the one is missed and the next one needs to be completed is what open past target date is.
Yeah, it'll sit in your work center. It's not, another one has not made it to your work center yet because it's not a monthly. And
Yep.
I'm eventually get to it. And then if I rerun the same month, next month, it'll show up as completed as late because I did it. It went from open to completed late. Once the target finish date is passed, you're only going to show up in missed, open, or late. You
Yeah,
can't.
definitely.
You're never going to be green once the
Yep.
target. Yeah, that's it. All right.
But once the target date is passed, it's not going to show in missed until the next one's generated.
What or someone goes in there manually and says, I ain't going to do this. I'm going to set it to miss.
Sure,
It has.
exactly.
All right. Okay.
That Boy, that answered a lot for me. Thank you,
Okay,
Carmine. That's
no
cool.
problem, no problem. I'm glad something came out of it. All right,
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
this was great training, top to
All right.
bottom, great training.
Thank you. All right, well, if there are no more questions, I gotta head to another meeting, but you have my email too if something comes up, and I'm gonna grab that PDT link in here. I think
Oh, yeah.
if I go here, all you have to do is go to process driven training. And they come up here, the classes. So I think, can I get the link from here? Where's Lucas? Lucas is in here. All right. Sometimes it was at the bottom in the old days. Is that it? What is that? Copy the link. All right, I'm gonna put this in the chat.
Perfect. And now I know where to find it too, so that's good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, just go there and you'll see the class. Like I said, the schedule might be a little slim now because at the end of the year we can't put anything else in. But all right. Thank you all again.
Thanks, sir.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Carmine.
All right, see you, Jim.
Thanks.
You too, bud.
All right.